Are you ready for a workout? Because I'm about to show you the ultimate exercise using major scale guitar patterns. In fact, I'm going to show you how by just using one fret on your guitar, you're going to be able to play 3 different major scale guitar patterns. The exact same notes, but 3 completely different patterns across the fretboard. What makes these scale patterns different is dependent on what finger you actually start the scale with. And we're going to be using 3 fingers on our picking hand to start the scale. So 3 fingers for 3 patterns. The first one is the pinky pattern. So when we start with our pinky, let's say, for example, we're going to use the 5th fret on the low E string. Remember, I said 1 fret to create 3 patterns. So we're starting on 1 fret. We're going to start on 5th fret on the low E string right here. Okay, so we're starting it with our pinky, and the scale pattern looks like this. So I was climbing up the major scale, and the frets are 5 on low E, obviously, with our pinky. Then our first finger plays the 2nd fret, 3rd finger plays the 4th fret, pinky plays the 5th, and then first finger plays 2nd fret on the D string, 3rd finger plays the 4th fret, then we reach over, we play the 1st fret on the G string with our first finger, and then 2nd finger plays 2nd fret on the G string. All right, and then our pinky's going to play the 4th fret, and then 2nd fret on the B string with our first finger, and then 3rd fret on the B string with our 2nd finger, then with our pinky, the 5th fret on the B string, and then we're going to play 2, 4, 5 on the high E string. So the whole pattern looks like this again. Now for this exercise, we're going to want to ascend the scale, but also descend the scale. So when we play the scale going up, we're going to want to bring it down too. Now, since we're going to be using these patterns in the context of an exercise, this is going to be really helpful to practice your alternate picking. So if you don't already use alternate picking, what it basically is you're alternating between downstrokes and upstrokes. So you're basically playing down, up, 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 down, right? So literally, you're moving in an alternating kind of motion, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, right? And that's how you can play through individual notes in succession a lot faster. The second major scale pattern uses our middle finger to start the scale. So we're going to start on the 5th fret on the low E string again, right? But with our middle finger. And the scale pattern looks like this. So what I'm doing is middle finger or 2nd finger, right, on the 5th fret of the low E string. Pinky's going to play the 7th fret, all right? Then our first finger plays the 4th fret on the A string. Our 2nd finger here plays the 5th fret. Pinky plays the 7th fret. Then we're going to do 4, 6, 7, right? So 4th fret with first finger, 6th fret with 3rd finger, and then the 7th fret with our pinky. A lot of numbers back and forth. So that's that. And then for the next string on the G string, we're going to do the same pattern. So 4, 6, 7, right, with our 1st, 3rd, and pinky fingers, right? Then 5th fret on the B string with our 2nd finger, our middle finger. Then pinky plays the 7th fret, all right? And then first finger plays 4th fret on the high E, and then 2nd finger plays the 5th fret on the high E. And then when we descend, we work backwards. So that's 2 out of 3 major scale patterns we got so far. So let's move on to the third pattern, which starts with our pointer finger, our index finger, or our first finger, right? So starting on the 5th fret of the low E string again, we're going to start the scale, and it looks like this. Okay, so this pattern is great. It's a 3-note per string pattern, and it kind of helps stretch the hand a little bit. which is nice, especially since we're using this as an exercise. So it's going to be really, really good for our hands to just build that stretchiness, that elasticity, right? So starting on the 5th fret, we're doing 5, 7, 9 on the low E, and then 5, 7, 9 on the A string. And I like to play it with my 1st, 2nd, and pinky in terms of my fingers. But if you got bigger hands and it's, more feasible to do it this way, you can use your 1st finger, 3rd finger, and your pinky. But it's a little bit of a stretch for me to do that. So I stick to 1st finger, 2nd finger, and then pinky. So we have 5, 7, 9, 5, 7, 9, right? Then we're going to do 6, 7, 9 on the D string, and then 6, 7, 9 on the G string. And then finally, we're going to stop at the B string because that's the amount of notes we played in the other 2 patterns. It evens out with just these next 3 notes. But on this pattern, it ends on the B string. So we're going to do 7th fret, 9th fret, and 10th fret on the B string. All right, so the whole thing is. And then going down. So with just 1 fret, we can now play 3 different major scale patterns starting on that 1 fret. And the cool thing is, each one of those patterns, the notes are the exact same. But the cool thing about how the guitar is laid out in terms of how there are different patterns, different finger patterns you can use to play the same exact notes. It's a great way to really get to know the fretboard of your guitar. And when you use this as an exercise, it really gets the fingers going and it gets your picking hand going too if you're practicing alternate picking. So I'm going to show you how I personally like to use this exercise when I'm practicing at home. So what I like to do is I take my smartphone, which has my metronome app that I use, and I'll set it to a certain BPM. I like to set it to about 100, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually not that bad when you're dealing with patterns if you're just going to play 1 note per click, right? But if you don't have a smartphone, you can use Google, actually, if you have like a laptop or a computer, which how else would you be watching this? You can literally type in metronome on Google and a free metronome will pop up out of the search engine. It's pretty cool. So you can totally use that if you don't have any other alternative. So I like to set my metronome. I'm going to set it at 100 beats per minute. And, I can start off by playing it 1 note per click, right? So with every click, I'm going to be playing a note on the scale. So we're going to start with the pinky pattern, and we'll start on the 5th fret. 2, here we go. So that's just an example of how I like to play it. If I really want to challenge myself, I can go in double time. So what I'll do just to demonstrate the rest of the exercise, I'm going to move in double time, but just to speed through it. But you don't necessarily have to do that. You can do 1 note per click. You can even adjust the BPM, go a little bit lower if that helps. But what I'll do is I'll play 1 pattern, I'll wait a beat, and then I'll play the next pattern, wait a beat, and then the next pattern. So it'll go like this. The whole thing goes like this. 1, 2, here we go. But what I'll do next is, once I go through all 3 patterns over 1 fret, then I'll move it up. I'll move it 1 fret up. And then I'll just kind of keep going until my hands get super tired or if I just run out of frets, So going back on the metronome here. Let's pretend since I just did the 5th fret, let's just pretend I just went through it again and we moved up to the 6th fret. Here we go. So you get the idea, right? I just keep on going until, like I said, I either run out of frets or my hand just can't take it anymore, right? That's how you know you get a good workout in, when you start to feel it pretty much everywhere. Like I'm even feeling it in my back, you know, your whole posture and everything, your whole body adjusts when it comes to playing guitar. So you got to think of it like your entire physical body is adapting to this physical object right here, which is kind of a way that we like to bond with our instruments. So it's kind of cool. You can think of it almost like a symptom of physically bonding with your guitar is when you start to feel a little, you know, feels a little unnatural at first, but of course it gets easier every time. So the great thing about that exercise I just showed you is it covers a whole lot of ground. You're now playing 3 different major scale guitar patterns that are the exact same notes, but 3 different patterns. So you get comfortable playing the same notes in different ways, which is something you're going to encounter as you move along in your guitar journey. You're going to find all kinds of ways to play the same notes, but on different areas of the fretboard. And this exercise kind of gives you a head start in getting familiar with that. And it also works your alternate picking, and you can also set your BPM to whatever speed is comfortable. My recommendation is set it to the speed that is the fastest that you can play comfortably in. So that initially might be pretty slow, okay? I say the fastest because I want you to find the fastest tempo, you know, obviously like the best starting point so that you can play through it comfortably, right? You don't rush yourself. You don't, you know, get off time. Like you're able to play it and be on beat and play it comfortably. Find the fastest tempo for that, and then just work your way up in increments of 5 beats per minute at a time. You know, so if you want to start at like 70 beats per minute or something like that, or even 50 beats per minute, it really does not matter. As long as you find that starting point and you work your way up, it's going to be an incremental process. And next thing you know, you're going to be setting it to, I don't know, just for fun, let's do 130. All right. I'm going to just do one run through of all 3 patterns at 130 going double time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you really, really want to challenge yourself, you can try doing 4 notes per click, which I don't know if I can do 4 notes per click at 130. Let me bring it back down to 100. So 4 notes per click. Every time you hear it click, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So even at 100, it's pretty fast. Let's see if I can do it. You're welcome to try this with me if you want. Starting on the 5th fret. 1, 2, here we go. Whew. Man, I had to really concentrate on that one. But that's really what's great about this exercise. It's really versatile, and you can adjust it in all kinds of different ways depending on how you set your BPM. So my recommendation, again, is find the fastest tempo that you can comfortably play the whole thing in, and start with 1 note per click, okay? Work your way up in increments of 5, and then once you get to, let's say, 100, right, and you're doing 1 note per click, it's still a little bit slow. So you can maybe scale back to like 75 and then try doubling it, going 2 notes per click. And then, you know, working your way back up. And then when you're ready to do 4 notes per click, you can go back down again, because even when you're lowering the BPM and you go 4 notes per click, I mean, it's still insanely fast. Since you've got this new exercise under your belt, I've got something for you that's going to really kick it up a notch. A free practice session cheat sheet. What this is going to do is it's going to tell you exactly what to play every time you pick up your guitar to practice. It's going to show you how to get the most out of your practice sessions in the least amount of time. Because let's be honest, I mean, it's hard to find time to practice. I understand that. I know that life happens. Trust me, I get it. But in order to get maximum results out of your practice sessions, it's not as much about how much time you dedicate as much as it is knowing exactly what to dedicate the time that you do have to what you practice. And that's exactly what this is going to show you. So be sure to click the link to claim it right now. And next, don't forget to smack the subscribe button and hit the bell notification icon so you can stay up to date on all the new lessons we got coming at you. We got a whole bunch more, so definitely stay tuned. Finally, be sure to download the reference material for this lesson. You'll find the link for that in the description box. It'll give you diagrams for the major scale pattern exercises. And just understand that these patterns, right, that's exactly what they are, is patterns. And they can be moved up the fretboard, just like you can think of it like a conveyor belt, right? You can take the pattern, play the exact same pattern, right? Kind of shift it up a fret or however many frets you want, and then the pattern doesn't change. So when you're practicing and you're moving up one fret at a time, the pattern is exactly the same across all three. You're just in a different position on the fretboard. So definitely keep that in mind, but download the reference material so you can have it in front of you. You'll see what I mean. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. I'm Eddie with Guitar Mastering Method, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.